Oh my, it's Kellee White.
Hey, it's James Van Pod.
What are you up to?
Thinking about changing the world.
Me too. We should do a show together.
What would it be about?
Let me show you.
The James and Kellee Show. Hi, James. Or actually, I'd like to call you Jamie tonight.
Yes, there we go.
Oh my gosh, how are you, honey?
It's been a rough one. It's been a rough
Yes.
weekend. My doggie got sick, so I was up for 2 nights with her. And yes, she eats fertilizer, which is not good for her. So she's yes. And then I've had someone put in a wall unit today. Started that, and electrician changing about I don't know 40 bulbs, and other thing, switches and all that, and other stuff going on, and just people coming.
And you're doing that all with Mercury in
And I just started my new book today. Brand new book started today.
Okay, so that's what you're supposed to do with Mercury in retrograde.
And it's dark. It's dark. I don't know how to get out of it, but it's dark. It's like, wow, did I really go to the depths of my soul? Wow.
Whoa.
That's just a prologue.
Can't wait. Everybody's on pins and needles.
I have no idea what's going to be happening because it's in the story, so who knows?
I have to say, we have people from Brazil and people from Africa watching. This is very exciting, right?
Thanks, everybody. Wow, that's incredible.
It's incredible. Canada, Texas.
Wow. Thanks, everyone. Wow.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Australia. Wow.
It's just,
well,
I love
this. Spreading the word. Really, thanks for spreading the word because we like to get around the world and help change in our own little. I didn't tell you about Friday's dinner. A little bit about it.
Okay,
so the
main
conversation which was great. A friend of mine next to me, she said, "The people, complete strangers at the table." So, what is your ripple? What do you give to the world? What is your ripple that you put out to the world? That was a great conversation, and people talked about what their ripple is and what they leave with the world. Their thoughts are things, and they continue on. And then there was one lady who didn't really quite get it. It didn't feel self-empowered, so I talked to her about self-empowerment the next day. But it was a wonderful conversation about what do you bring to the world. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. What a great conversation.
How we can change the world by changing our ripple, realizing thoughts are things, and how we treat others are treating ourselves.
Well, so
we have a lot going on.
Well, we have a lot. I just want to mention this. I did Roots of Healing too, and I talked about the spiritual. It was fantastic, and we talked about spiritual laws. And the first spiritual law is oneness, the law of oneness. So thoughts are things, and energy goes out, and we are all connected. So we're connected to everybody that's watching this. We're connected to everything and everybody. So it's a ripple effect is everything, James.
And the ripple came in the conversation. Then ripple turned into the ripple becomes one. So
there you go. So we were on the same page this weekend, as usual, which is great. Well, before we start this incredible program, I do want to talk a little bit about Mercury.
Miscommunications left and right today, too.
Yes. Miscommunications left and right. You betcha. Well, we have yes. So Mercury is retrograde starting today. Today's it. So today, and it goes until October 18th, which means a few days even after that. But let me tell you the important part of today. The next 9 days, Mercury in retrograde is in Libra, and it's squaring Pluto in Capricorn. So what does that mean in English? It means that Mercury, the planet of communications, in Libra, which is about personal relationships. So I'm not talking about in the world. I'm actually talking about individual relationships, whether it's a friend, whether it's a lover, whether it's a business partner, whatever the relationship is. In the next 9 days, it's squaring Pluto, which is in Capricorn, which means no nonsense. And Pluto is the hidden. So you really want to watch your communications of how you talk to everybody. You want to take a 10-second break. You want to count to 10, pause. You want to take some deep breaths, and you want to really pack your patience for the next probably 3 weeks, but particularly the next 9 days. And 9 days because on October 6th, Pluto does go direct finally. Since April, it goes direct. So then we'll only have 5 planets in retrograde. Right now we have 6 in retrograde. So this is a very intense time. What is Mercury good for? I'll tell you, as James just started a book. It's great to go back and look at a project that you haven't finished. It's
And
great to
Kelly
do.
says, "Boy, remember that it's not. I did start it, but I've been thinking about it before Mercury retrograde. What
Yes,
I don't want to start something at the initial beginning of
right.
Mercury. You want to
But you
be
have been
have it
thinking about doing this for
for
a long time.
for a while.
I mean,
So
I think this is amazing. And this is really about the individual, somewhat to the collective consciousness, but certainly it'll hit all of us individually. So look at reviewing your life, look at revisiting things. People will come back into your life because it's in Libra, personal relationships. You may want them to come back. You may not want them to come back, but you might want to look at the relationship from a higher level, from your higher self. Look at this relationship and make good choices.
make good choices.
Yeah,
One should
there
be
you
proud.
go. There you go. Okay, here we go.
Here we go. Well, it's a great show tonight. Which for years,
Yes.
this topic has been up there for a lot of people. I'm wondering exactly about orbs, spirit orbs.
Yes.
And there are some people that seem to be able to take pictures of orbs quite frequently, others cannot. And there are all different types of orbs. So we're going to discuss orbs. And I know you've been researching on top of everything else because
Okay.
I just know you do. I mean, I just say, well, maybe I can look up a little bit orbs. But no, Kelly already did
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
She's the Virgo, the real Virgo.
It's the truth. I mean, I'm such a researcher. So this is the definition of an orb by the Merriam-Webster dictionary. It's any of the concentric spheres in old astronomy surrounding the Earth and carrying celestial bodies
Interesting.
around. Isn't that interesting?
Interesting.
Celestial
Interesting.
bodies. Now there was an interesting I have to read you this, James. So I found this book. First of all, he's given me many, many books, many. But you gave me this book on orbs.
I did, didn't I?
You
Oh,
did.
I forgot.
Oh my gosh, this is a really interesting treasure to have about a woman who had never really dealt with orbs, and all of a sudden, in all of her pictures, there everyone where they were. Then I found an old book that I hadn't seen in a long time, the Spirit
Wow,
book.
it's the Bible.
It's a Bible on, yeah, the Encyclopedia of Clairvoyance, Channeling, and Spirits
I'm in that
Communication.
book. I am in there.
I didn't know because I didn't look, but
Yeah,
wow.
looks like you,
So
yeah.
here's a great quote from, of all people, James, Arthur Finley.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
Okay.
Arthur Finley College in England for mediumship. So he said that sometimes when photographs are taken, a small orb is seen on the print when it's developed. This indicates psychic energy present, or it's an indicator that spirit is with the person in the photograph. The orbs that are seen on many photographs may or may not have the potential for forming into materialized spirits. It probably depends on the person in the photograph whether or not they have the potential to be a physical medium. It
Correct.
seems, however, that more and more photographs are showing these orbs now.
Correct. Correct. So I think the spirit world is using a different type of energy to come in.
Yes.
And I have found that as well. And Arthur Finley was a real researcher in psychical research. So he would know.
Yeah,
In
okay.
my experience, and I first started doing this 30, 40 years ago, there weren't as many, at least you hear about as many, and they've come about. And of course, now it happens quite often. And I know you have like many examples
Yeah.
of orbs, and people often say, look, what does this mean? I honestly can't say what it means, except that I do know the spirit one said to me, the way they put it to me was, it's a concentration of energy for us around you to know you that we're with you.
Oh,
So
wow.
it might be more than one person. It might be one of them more than one soul. It might be several of them
Right.
concentrated together to materialize that in this dimension. So it could be one. I would just think there's a lot to
Right.
materialize,
Well,
but
one time I was with you, James. We were in, I think it was Australia, and we were on a ship, and somebody, after you had been doing readings, you must have done, 100 readings, and somebody took a bunch of pictures, and I tried to find it. Sadly, I don't have it. But the orbs in that room, I had never seen anything like it.
yeah,
From
yeah.
after when you had been doing all those readings, it was extraordinary.
It happened quite a lot after a demonstration, a lot of orbs
Right.
around on the stage and then around the audience. Yeah, that
Oh
is
my
clear.
God. So there's a book by Anthony Kevin Surcom, Kevin, maybe Surcom, and it's called Spirit Orb Phenomena, Fact or Fiction. And he says that spirit orbs or balls of light, sometimes they're called that, are commonly described as hovering or floating circular, rounded, spherical balls of energy and light, and spirit orbs are made of plasma and consist of a complex plasmoid spherical energy structure of millions of unknown elements and
I like
emitting electromagnetic energy.
I like that it said unknown because I agree with that. There are some unknown elements in there, just like ectoplasm that
Right.
it protrudes from the medium's orifices. It's the same thing with that. There is a material in there that we are unaware of, I think, at this level.
Right, right. Well, would you guys like to see a video? We've got a few
Yeah.
videos. Would you like to see one that'll
I mean,
blow
there's
you
so many,
away?
but this is sent it to us. Yes, please.
Okay, this is the one that we're going to start off with that Renee's going to post. I should mention this comes from a client who told me I could use it. I'm not going to give her name, but in her family, she has a situation with her daughter, and her husband had died, ex-husband had died a few years ago, but the daughter is the concern right now. The daughter is the concern. And so she called me and she sent this to me. And I sent this to you, James, and your response was like perfect. But if we could show this first
You
one.
have to share what I said, but continue.
Yeah, I mean, you said call Ghostbusters when you saw this. I've never seen anything like
It
this
was pretty
before.
weird. It was
But,
pretty amazing.
and then so let's see if you could roll this one, Renee, because it's
Pretty wild.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Now watch the little
Yeah, it
feet.
moves. I mean, look at how it
Look at the
moves.
little feet as it walks away. Is that something?
Yes, but of course, then there's that part of me which is that Virgo, which is like, did someone create that? So I don't
Oh
know, but
yeah, no, no, no. No way. Nobody created that one. That one, and it was so interesting because again, her husband had died, ex-husband had died, and when I did a reading for her, I started giving all the names of all these people that I certainly don't know, and that they're on the other side. And then it came to me that they were all part of this helping her daughter get through a
well,
situation right now.
maybe that's what this is to let her know
Yeah,
this. I,
absolutely.
I hope she sent it to the daughter, so the daughter sees that.
Well, that's the problem. The daughter is unavailable right now, having a
That's
problem. It's very interesting though.
I was once at the Ford Theater in Washington D.C. As you know, I have a very big Abraham Lincoln thing. You know,
Yes.
but my very big, very big, and I will go to this show. But he was a guide of mine for during my TV show Beyond, and he came to
Wow.
me days before the show started taping, and he said, and it was him with the beings around the bed, and he said, I said. Is that so? Is that Abraham Lincoln at my bed? What is that? And basically said that we are from the order or new world order or new order or something. And he said, we are here to help you know that we're helping to help you with this show, to bring the show out. And anyway, I needed proof, of course, and I got it. I got it every single day for 2 years in the sign of
Wow.
a penny on the stage, or a $5 bill out of my wallet, or a truck going by St. Lincoln every day for 5 years.
Wow.
There's my reference. But when I went down there with my good friend Jordy, who we know,
Yeah.
like Obama, we went to the Ford Theater, and it was really interesting, Kelly, because nobody was there. It was very strange. It was like 1 in the afternoon, and no attendees were there. We're the only ones, and the man running said, you can hang out there if you want. You can't go in the booth, but you can go on the stage or whatever. So I sat in the stage and I asked Spirit to come in, and we felt them anyway. We felt the energy anyway. And Jordan took several pictures, and you could barely see the delineation between the backstage and where I was because there were orbs everywhere. Orbs
Oh
everywhere.
my gosh.
Layers of them. So could that be at that time, or that could be from times past? Or
Yeah.
that was
We
very
don't
interesting.
know. That's fascinating.
Could be. So
Wow.
could be thought forms for people as well. I mean, there's so much to it that I think goes beyond us, but
Right.
they're real.
They're
They're real.
real. Well, I've got another one that we're going to do. Now, I should set this one up too. So this one is very interesting to me. So my niece came over 3 weeks ago for dinner on a Saturday night, and she said, "Look, I have to show you this video." She said, "I don't know what this is." Now this is coming from Ring. You know the thing Ring. Some people have Ring on their front doors,
Yes.
or
Yes.
so they can do video. So this comes from Ring, and so my niece said, "You've got to see this." So I look at this, and you guys are going to watch this. I said, "What is that?" I said, "Well, maybe Peggy, it's a bunch of relatives, that have passed that are just keeping an eye on you." And she said, "Do you think it's a warning?" I said, I can't imagine. I don't know. Now, here's what happened. So show the video, and then I'll tell what the story happened after this. So Renee, yeah.
Wow. That's pretty wild. Oh, goodness.
It just hovers about.
Is it her backyard, a side
That's
yard?
her front yard, the
Front yard.
front. But
Right.
here's the weird thing is 2 days later, 2 days later, her neighbor across the street, who was a farmer who was really close with her, they did everything together. He passed of COVID.
Wow.
And he had been in a coma, James, when this was taken 2 3 days before. Now,
Wow.
so let's talk about that aspect.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
think that's what the message was. And she was in tune enough to say, "Is it a warning?" And I said, I'm thinking, no, but I think it
I don't
was
see warning, or if the
warning. But I just a
spirit is around ready to take him, that they've
yeah,
come to get him. I think that's more. I think that's more than
yeah,
likely what it is, because they do that.
yeah,
So have more interpreted warning, but
yeah.
yeah, that's real. That's pretty amazing.
There's
It's pretty
something
amazing.
else.
I've seen it a lot with partners that pass over, children that pass over,
Yeah,
and also this is interesting because when we have phenomena like things like electric lights going on and off computers, things, it usually, it's somehow the spirit world affects the magnetic field of that
yeah,
instrument. And I don't know how they do it, but they have to have kind of that mindset, that scientific mindset, that they're aware of that, and that helps with them to have this manifestation. And of course, the chemists and spirits and spirit doctors on the side and scientists know how to manipulate or do these things to have them occur here in the physical. But it's really, I find it is definitely many times those who have passed over. I sometimes warnings, not haven't heard that a lot, but
yeah,
definitely places are what we call them haunted or visited. I've seen that
yeah.
a lot too. So is that a thought form? So it's many things for sure, but they're real for sure.
They're real. Wow. Well, wait till you see the third video we have, y'all.
Okay.
Now, this is from a client who sent this to me, and her beloved husband had passed maybe 2 months before. So this is really, I mean, as you said, love never dies, never. So Renee, whenever it's unbelievable. Now
Oh my
she's in her
goodness.
room at dark. Her room is pitch black. She's on the phone.
Oh my goodness.
Now watch this, and then
And when did he die?
he died. I think he died 3 months ago, and this started happening a month after he passed.
Oh, wow.
But then there's one that's you'll see. I mean, and she's just doing her thing on
On her phone,
on her
whatever.
phone. She's talking on her phone. She's and
And
this
where's
is
the light coming from, Kelly? Is it a
she had a like a ring.com, so she
oh,
had that going on, but it's infrared camera.
right.
So but then watch this one scene, and it's coming up. Renee, could you just go to that one scene because it's so unbelievable. Um, okay, here it comes. This is you're going to see he just leans in, and you can
He
see
probably
him
slept at the bed with her.
right as how many times have we done readings where we've said that, where the soul tells us we're in
They
sleep
kiss
with
every
you,
night, every night's a kiss, yep.
and but he's comes in and he kisses her. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
Wow.
is that something?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just phenomenal.
That's pretty great. That's
Thanks,
a really,
Renee.
really good one.
That was a really
Wow.
good one.
That's a
Thank you,
real good
Renee,
one.
for that.
That's a good
I
one.
mean, that's a good one. Now, I have
Good one.
another one for a client who lost her husband. And wait till you see this one. So her husband also died of COVID, and this was in March of 2020. And her sister came in the middle of the night and took this picture, and they sent it to me immediately. But you've got to see this to believe it. Renee, if you could do that fourth one. Wait till you see this one. This is just a picture. It's not a video, but oops, no, oh no, not that one. Oh, but you can still see this guy just hangs in the back. He's just hanging on there.
Yeah, that's they can manifest the physical. It's like that, perhaps, is that, but they're always around us. So
They're always
just
around us. Yeah,
I had, yeah, you have one more, right? And
yeah.
well, where it is, get there it is. Okay.
Look at that one. Now, my client is actually you can't tell, but she's sleeping in the bed right there.
Wow. Wow. Wow, that's amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, a friend of mine sent her literally, she was cleaning her floor yesterday, and she sent me this photograph, and it looked like that on the floor. And I was like, "Well, you missed the spot." I think that's spirit. I said, "Spirit, give me a sign," and they did.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh. I mean, that's just um it's just amazing. I, yes, I mean they're always around us. I mean, spirits are always around us.
always, always
Always
around.
around. You
Yeah,
can't be alone. It's actually not possible.
no. And,
Um,
it's so funny. My mind goes this all the time, thinking, we are spirits having human experience, and yet we put so much emphasis on the human part of us when they're all around us that we just have a foot in this world, a foot in the other world all the time, and that's a
yes.
mental world, of course. And we could just control our mental thoughts here, but we'd be so much better. But I'm so aware of that they're with us all the time.
Right.
I'm just so aware of that, and for me, of course, I realize I'm a teacher. You're a teacher that we have, people that just don't get that at all, and to
I
me, it's
know.
a sad thing
Yeah.
because there's something to look forward to. There's nothing you think that this is it, and this isn't it. This is just a small
This
piece of the
is
puzzle. I mean, when
what
it's our time to go home, there's a big party waiting for us. They're looking forward to us coming back.
oh yeah. Oh, I
Or
love this. Pam Orsini says, after my dog passed, I got a rainbow paw print on my kitchen floor.
oh,
Oh,
so that 2 weeks ago, someone's animal passed, and they got two rainbows together that day. So
oh,
that's spirit working with them for sure. It's very, very true.
oh, I
And
love
the more
that.
open we are to seeing them, Kelly, the more open, the more we will see them. So the more we expand our minds, we will see
Yes.
the phenomena. So people should open themselves up and look for signs, and just look and see what happens. Because you'll open up that space in your mind, but you'll be able to connect with that and see that.
Right. And it's not scary. It's just part of
No,
everything. It's not scary at all.
no, it's
It's
like a close.
amazing. And
Yeah.
Renee, I know we have one more photo, which is really an interesting one too. Somebody sent me about a wedding. Her daughter was getting married, and wait till you see the minister when he's marrying them. I mean, this is look at the orb over the
Oh
minister's
wow!
head.
Look at that.
Is that something?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. People have
Yeah.
taken pictures of me in my demonstrations, and I've had very interesting orbs around me,
Yeah.
purple and golds and
Well,
cloaks
and
and
let's talk about the colors because they orbs can be in different colors too.
more different colors. And I've heard different things. I've heard that it really represents what's going on with the person that they're working with. That the orb
Ah,
with the energy of that person. So if there's red, maybe the person needs more red energy in their life. Green, more
uh-huh.
compassion in their life. So I've heard that. I've also heard that represents the spirit who would be much more loving or much more empathetic. So it could be that, or again, a makeup, a connection, if you will.
Right, right.
I have seen a lot with, halos. The idea of halos might come from that as well. Orbs.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Yes. Um, so Heather Patrice says, I took pictures at a family gathering years ago in an older hall, and there were so many orbs, small and large, and some seemed to have faces in them. One
Some
seemed
do.
like it had a dove shape in it. I've lost them on a computer, but isn't that something
Yeah,
that you can
it is.
actually tune into the faces or you could, somehow see the faces in them? When you do family gatherings, always take a lot of pictures. You
Sure.
just don't know what you're going to see.
But not the Spirits book you have. There's another book, and I don't remember the name of it. There is no death. I'm not forget. It's an old book. I have it somewhere in my library, and it's spirit photography. And spirit photography is very popular in the Civil War and after the Civil War. And a lot of people would take pictures, and spirit would appear as mists in next to them. And that was kind of the
Wow.
beginning of that. And then there was some fakery involved. They found for some of them, but a lot of them were very legitimate. There was one with Abraham Lincoln and his wife who lost their son, and there was clearly
Wow.
one that people said was very legitimate, and there was their son. And he was the first U.S. president to have seances in his no, white at the White House on a
Well,
regular.
then that would make sense then that he would be your guide.
Yeah,
How interesting.
interesting.
June Collins says, I saw my friend's late husband in her home and felt his presence. Wow. That happens. I mean,
It,
husbands, they don't go away.
They don't. Well, generally speaking, but most husbands, generally speaking, are there to take care of and
Yeah.
to make sure that they're fine, and they will stay there. They will. They mean they can be in several places at once. People think they're stuck there in one place. Don't think of it physically.
Yeah.
Think of it that they're one of everything. They can be in several places at once, and they
Yeah.
will stay with their wife or their family to watch out for them. And an aspect of them will be on the other side. Just like right now, we are here communicating, but really we're on the other side doing other things as well. Hard to comprehend in the physical dimension, but it's very, very
Right.
true that we're more than just here. I almost think like a stem of a flower. This is a stem, and the flower is on the other side.
Oh, I love that. And what did you say today on your show? You said a big toe. It's like the big toe
Oh
is
yeah,
here.
so I always use the analogy that people think, well, this is the soul, and say no, this is part of the soul. I always use the analogy that the big, I call it the big toe, that only 20% or 30% is in the body, the soul. The remainder of the soul, 70% is outside the body. This is
Right.
the big toe to the soul. The soul is the body. So it's just a
Right.
very small part of us.
This is a
And we
good
hope,
question. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I'm just saying we hope that the higher, because somebody has the higher self will slowly meander down to the big toe, to the
Yes.
physical vibration, to the limiting vibration, to the judgmental vibration, and open it up to other ways of thinking and being and expanding.
Right. So Lori Counts has a question. She says, "Do you believe orbs are our loved ones, or they be our spirit guides, or either?"
Well, they can be both. They can be loved ones. They can be guides. They can be elementals. They can be older types of things. There are fairy trails or fairy places in Ireland I've been to. We see orbs all the time. I've seen little people. I've seen leprechauns.
Me
I've
too.
experienced with leprechauns. You have had that?
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's
they exist.
well, I was in Ireland and in Dublin, outside of Dublin. I did a workshop, and I had the money, the Irish money there, and I put the top drawer under my socks. And I came back after our morning session and got some money for lunch, and it wasn't there. And I was flipping out because I know I'm crazy, but I'm like, come on. No, I put it there, and I found it underneath the middle, right in the middle of the bed, underneath the floor. Who does that? Yeah,
These,
nobody
I'm
does.
telling you, they're unbelievable. Those little ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I have a nice garden, as you know, here,
Yeah.
and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
wondering how much of the elemental forms there. And I will take pictures here because I think there will be. You can walk around and ask for orbs to show. You can. I'm going to do that here in the property and see. And I think it will affect the atmosphere if you open up that atmosphere more with the vibration, with prayer, with loving energy. That certainly
Yeah.
helps to raise the consciousness, the vibration, and it helps them to use that to manifest. So I would do that. So I'm going to start doing that here to see what orbs will appear.
Oh, I'm
in
going to do
my
that here too because where I
Good.
live, it's a lot of Native American land.
Perfect.
Lot where I am
Oh,
here, and
arrowhead.
here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, there.
So
Ann Margaret says, "JVP, what do you mean by elementals?"
where does she elementals? Well, elementals. I don't, it's a general term, but remember, there's many, many kingdoms
Mhm.
of beings, and there are where the human form, but there's another form of another life. I'm not going to say lower or higher, but woodland woodland creatures,
Yeah.
leprechauns, fairies, divas that
Mhm.
exist on other levels, and many of them help to influence the gardens and
Mm.
flowers and forests and Findhorn, I think it's in England or Scotland, it was filled with the Diva Kingdom. So all
Yeah.
that, if you will, the elementals are the species, I guess you would
Yeah.
say, like that.
And they exist. They
And they exist.
exist.
Oh, yes, they exist. There are
Oh.
many, many types of beings around us, really.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Yeah.
true. Nikki, hello. Have either of you seen small orbs, which are ETs? That's a good question.
Good question. I haven't seen. I've seen small orbs. I don't know if they were ETs.
Yeah.
I do remember my only experience, well, several experiences, I should say, but one I remember very clearly in my development as a medium, where I sit in my mediumship development circles. I would often get what you would refer to as ETs right there, and as a guide or guides. And my reaction was quite the opposite of fear or negativity. It was the opposite because they were so ascended. And I was like, well, this is
Mm.
great. They were talking about
Wow.
raising the consciousness of the planet. So
Wow.
yeah, ETs, we can learn a lot from them.
That is so true. Um, somebody, EG says, use a copper triangle to amplify your vibration to receive more orbs.
Wow, never heard of that. Thank you. Okay.
That's a
Wow.
good one. Thank you for that. That's very, very interesting. Renee Hounsel says, I was shown in the orbs that it's an oversoul that encases a soul group.
Well, that's very interesting, Renee. Really, I've never heard that before. Very
Yeah.
interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, so many things it could be. It's,
Right. Is Bigfoot a supernatural creature?
I personally don't believe that. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that thing. If that might be myth, so myth or
Ah,
legend. I
that
don't.
one I don't know either.
Not that they don't. Would that type of species, whatever might
Yeah.
exist, could be, but
Right, right.
I don't know. I don't know.
Cindy Neiman Reese says, I always have orbs in my pictures, especially around the holidays. Yes,
Okay,
some have faces.
let me
Let's,
talk about this because
yes.
so orbs for those people tend to have a lot of orbs in their photographs. Like my friend Jordy, anytime, and I was visiting Jordy's house, and she has a lot of spirit activity there. Her son had passed over, and she always had activity because
Yeah.
that's the way Jordy is. Her and her husband Eric, and her son was an artist, and he passed, and I stayed in his room there, and she calls it the heaven room. I'm like, okay,
Mm,
and the bed was the most comfortable bed ever. It was like on a cloud, and there were kind of stars in the wall. And I remember I felt really good there. And then during the day, things would happen, phenomena. For instance, the radio started playing. I think, well, that's strange. And next to the bed in his room, the radio. So I was in the living room. And I went, and I told George, he goes, oh, he does that often. I pulled out the plug, and there were no batteries in this. And it started up again about a half hour. And again, there were lights. There were times where he would come in and the glass would be steamed up. You can see his name Ian backwards spelled out. And whenever she takes photographs, orbs show up all the time, especially at her house. So
wow.
that does happen. And so orbs tend to be, that I've found from my experience, that they really use the energy of it's a form of mediumship in a way, because they
Yes.
use the medium's energy to manifest that orb, or it
Yeah.
helps them to manifest the orb. So I've seen that with a lot of mediums that they're able to do that. The Skull Mediumship group I sat with when they were here in America, and lots of orbs and spirit lights as well. And spirit
Wow.
lights, the little Tinkerbell lights that you see around. And we sat in we should do we should probably do a show on seances. We probably should.
Oh, I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah,
That should be
seances.
our maybe our Halloween show.
Yeah, seances. There's a different type of seances. But there's one seance I'll talk about it again then. But we with this called Mediumship Group, you can go online. They wrote a book and it's a documentary on them. Wonderful people. And they were, and I'm so skeptical, and it's so weird, but I just, that's my nature. And before the seance began, I was in the garage where it was, and it was all, they set up the garage for this, and they had several meetings. And I looked under every one of those chairs for microphones, and I looked everywhere for anything. And there was a table with crystals on it and chimes and things. Like, okay. Well, during this seance, it was really interesting because the energy built, and people
Right.
talking, you see the spirit lights all over twinkling, and then they become make like faces, and they come in front of me making this big smile, and the medium said, they're saying you're skeptical, James. Why are you bringing skepticism into the meeting?
Oh my
And there
gosh.
were lights, not even orbs, but lights, and they at one point would raise that table up and the crystals in the air, and you didn't hear anything moving, and they put it down, and they'd have the chimes in the air. They were in there. They were actually structured there, and you'd hear the chimes playing one at a time, not even, and that's hard to do.
Wow.
So yes,
Wow.
amazing what they can do, and the spirit lights and the orbs. Yeah,
That's
the orbs have a
amazing.
concentration of energy, without a doubt.
Concentration of energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is.
I would agree with that. And Roseanne Groover says, "Do you use a special camera to capture the orbs?"
I
No.
I'm not a specialist in that, but I think there
Yeah.
might be. There might be, just like EVP, electronic voice phenomena. We used to do that all the time, and you hear the voices of the spirit world, and
Wow.
we used to do that as well. And there was a special kind of, well, you could do it in regular tape recorders as well, but that
Yeah.
was a big thing. Yeah,
Yeah. But I think any like your iPhone camera or in
yeah.
this these videos were filmed with well infrared cameras, but it's on Ring if you own ring.com. So that seems
I've
it,
seen orbs on airplanes.
you have? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I've seen orbs. I would take a picture. There was an orb on the planes, or taking a plane before it takes off. I've seen orbs around that.
Oh, now that's
Yeah,
yeah. That's probably a good sign, I would
yeah,
think. I
yeah.
would think. Let's see. Okay, so Hada Merriweather, it says, I have seen and videoed luminescent blue orbs that have spiraled to me or hide from under the sofas. Happens often. Can the color signify family around us or
Sure.
angelic beings?
Sure,
Wow.
definitely. I believe so. And when that does happen, you need to either journal or ask us what's going on at that moment in your family's life. That's
Right.
what in life. That's
Right.
what's happening.
Right. Oh, yeah. People are saying they use just a regular camera. People have used their iPhones. And now Emilia is saying that she's had rainbows with orbs.
Oh, that's great. Wow, I don't know what that means. Could be different level of beings. Who knows? I
Yeah.
think it's a great idea to set up a camera and ask spirit to come in. Maybe you know,
Yeah.
maybe do it for a 2 week period and ask, and before you go to bed, meditate and ask them to use the energy of the camera to maybe manifest orbs.
Oh, I
See
think
what
that's a
happens.
great idea.
Why
Uh,
not? If you want to do
I
that.
mean, putting that out there, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and let us
Um,
know if you come up with anything. Would be very
right.
interesting.
Margaret Cowie says, my husband passed 13 years ago. My printer began engaging while I was writing my first book.
Wow.
Wow. So that's pretty cool. I unplugged it. And anyway, third night it started again.
Roll and scan for anywhere 15 seconds to 4 minutes. I always feel such joy. He's obviously helping you with the book.
Yeah. Yes.
They do
Uh,
that. They want the word out. That's for sure. A lot of people, when they pass over, feel regret because they didn't know the truth when they were here in the body, and
right.
they feel like they want to get it out now. So that happens quite a bit.
Right. So
Yeah.
this is interesting. Tony Delicana says, what do you think? Is it possible that you just end and that's it? No,
You just
sorry, Tony.
you just end. No, you can't kill energy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say it's dust particles, which could be, or it could be dust. I'm open to that too. It could be dust particles, no doubt about it. But the movement of them is a little bit different than dust particles, really. And
Yeah.
that's easy out, but that's a possibility, but not for actual real orbs, I don't think.
Yeah. Laura Essex says, did you see my question about the spinning cylinder spheres? They have
No,
a prism-like appearance with iridescent colors. What is it? Again, it could be a loved
it
one.
could be different levels of beings.
Yeah.
And Renee says, I have a blink system from Amazon and pick up a single orb, but sometimes multiple. What's the difference between one and many? That's an interesting one.
Good question.
I
Yeah.
used to think one orb was maybe it was one spirit, but then I thought there were several spirits that have to make up an orb. And
Right.
then at that Ford theater, when I was there, I felt there was multiple spirits within one orb. Even they had to work together to create that. So again, I don't know. I don't know until I pass over. We won't know what really is involved with it. But I know it takes a lot of concentration. And now they really want to be here. I don't think it's just easy to manifest an orb because remember going through different dimensions. So
Right.
that's a good
Um,
thing.
that's so interesting. I want to astral travel with my guides to parallel universes.
You probably
You
do that every night anyway, but don't remember.
probably.
Most of us do. So
Yeah.
you probably do.
Oh,
So
oh, go ahead.
I'm just another thing as a torture, Kelly. These things pop in my head. Thank you. And I just this golden journal, like a gold journal, like a journal, bejeweled gold journal.
Okay.
And it's almost like when she just said that question about traveling over there in parallel universes with your guys and writing things down in that book over there. Maybe then you should have a book in your desk right next to you or your side table next to your bed and try to and from the spirit side, remember, I'm going to write this down in the physical. And then you start writing, have a journal next to your bed and see what comes in.
I think that's a fabulous
Sounds like
idea.
fun. That's a nice thing that
That's a
popped in.
fabulous idea. Um, Lena Bean. So I've never seen orbs before with my eyes, but I have seen a sort of wave type of manifestation when my stepdad was passing away in the room. It
Yeah.
almost looked like if you skipped rocks in a lake, the little
Yes,
waves.
that's very true.
Wow.
Yes. Have you seen that, Kelly?
I have not seen that.
I've seen it a couple of times, and it's usually for me. It's a spirit that's passing out of the body. It's the essence. It's the energy. My father, I saw it also with him when he left. It was like a wave. It's almost like a mirage, the heat mirage. Sometimes you have
Yes.
that sense, and it's very light
Wow.
feeling. And the funny thing is like I do for my father who taught me that when in his passing that the human beings because it's such a hard thing to leave the body and they just has a lot of them hesitate to go and it's like
Yeah.
and once they get that and Debbie Forbes is the same way when it helped her over
Yeah.
it's that once they get that inkling that it's an easy like it's a breath they just go and I mean within what a minute he was over there and came back and said it's real and he was happy and he was free and we build up death so much in this physical vibration that it's such something to fear.
Well, it's so
Is
true because my mother had such fear of leaving, didn't want to leave her body, and the moment she did, you were on an airplane
Yeah.
and you didn't know this. You were on an airplane and you literally sent me a text and said, "Your mom just came to me. She just passed, blah, blah, blah." I mean, that was a major
Well,
deal.
another great one I'll remember is a good friend of mine, Marilyn. I was on an airplane from New York to LA, and her father had passed. And I used to sit with Marilyn in development circles, very close friend. And he said she's in a hospital. She's at UCLA hospital. Can you visit her? You need to. You need to. It was imperative. And I didn't know anything. I didn't call anyone. I got in a taxi cab at LAX, and I went right to UCLA. And I asked about it. Yes, she's up here, and she was in a coma.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I believe she was murdered. Is what I believe. I do. I
Oh,
believe she was murdered by somebody. She was ill health anyway, but I think something happened. I just do.
wow.
She died 2 days later, and that was my only way to say goodbye to her. And
Wow.
things like that happen.
Wow, James. So Lisa Jensen says, I have a photo of my father with a large orb right on his
Heard
chest.
about this, Lisa?
Days later, he had a massive heart attack. He survived the attack, but I feel that was a warning of what was to come.
Lisa could have been a loved one of his. Definitely. I've heard of them. I've seen them with that. I've
Wow.
seen them, and then the person passes. I've seen that. So that is very true. That does happen indeed, for sure.
Wow. I'm going to check all my pictures. As soon as I take them, I'm going to be checking them.
It's interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting to, when you hold the camera, to say, I'm looking for orb, send out this message to spirit and turn all four directions and see what the subject is that you're taking pictures of. And just try it out with spirit and say, I'm going to try now. Can you please help me? And meditate before you do it and see what happens as it manifests. See how
Right.
they manifest themselves.
Wow. This is interesting. Amy Augustine says, my roommate and I saw an orb floating across our kitchen.
Wow.
Wow. It was white, yellow, and translucent. It was amazing. The shape changed as it moved.
That's
That's
right.
amazing that you
Right.
both got to experience that.
Yes. And yesterday I thought of you, Kelly, because I was in the pool with some friends visiting the other day, and there was a hawk. And I said, "Oh, look, there's a hawk." And it was pretty close. And then we're watching a movie tonight, and it was called Sparrow. And I'm like, "Kelly and Sparrow."
Oh, you got to be kidding.
No,
Uh-oh.
Scarlet. Yeah.
What's going to happen now?
All good. All good things. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is so interesting because let's see.
As we talk about this, yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like I have a radio conversation going on over here. I know I do. I mean, we
Yeah.
never do this alone. I have guides here and people here that are interested in this for the side. And I know that they're very happy that we're bringing this to the world for more people to understand it because they want to come through more in orbs. So the more awareness you have and expansion of the mind with these sorts of manifestations, try it out. Try it out. It's how we get through it. Kept on saying, it's how we get through it.
Oh, I love that, James. It's so true. And just be open about this.
Yeah,
Just be
definitely.
open. I have many photos with orbs. We even filmed an orb on a video. We have seen them without the camera. Are the orbs spirits with individual
Oh,
footprints,
good question.
like a snowflake? Because we definitely had repeats.
It's a great question. I
Mm.
don't personally know, and I'm just going to say that my personal experience, because I know what your belief is here, but you know, we're so individuals. We feel like we're
Yeah.
individuals here, human, but we're so connected with people. So
Hmm.
to me, I don't orbs. I think we work together with other beings and do that, but I don't know. What do you
Yeah.
think, Kelly?
I think I've seen him both ways. I've seen him individual and I've seen him work in groups.
Yeah,
I mean, this is, as we each expand our views, I mean, we get more information comes in,
true.
I
So
think, for all of us. We're all learning here.
it opens
Um,
up the curtains. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Margaret, I have to read this. She says, too funny. I saw an owl fly over my head in the daytime, 2 days in a row at the same time of day. And then I heard, wise old owl. My mom had just passed on.
Oh,
Oh.
well, there you go. They come in all different ways.
Yeah, they sure do. So how do you know it's an orb and not a sunlight? It can't be sunlight in the middle of the night with no light on, you know. Um, so which is so interesting. Susie Rideout. I cannot see orbs myself, but I lay in bed at night and put phone video on and see as many all around the room. Wow,
Pretty trippy.
that's really trippy.
Right.
Yeah, golly.
Here's one thing words that my son passed, and his favorite cat used to go do the same spot and paw at the wall. Wow. Hit this many times. Is it possible that this spot is a portal? Wow. It could be. I don't know. It could be. I don't know portals or being portals. I don't know. I wish I did, but I don't know. But I have seen portals before. I opened portals before. I've closed portals before, and
Wow.
usually, from my experience, they've been bigger than just an orb would look. Uh,
Right. Been my experience too, James. A
mhm.
little bigger.
I
Uh,
had one once, and it was really funny because it's just funny. In Beverly Hills, we used to live. I was once called as a case of a woman and husband who couldn't build their house because it got to three contractors, and they weren't able to build the second story. There would be some problem happening, or the contract would fall, or these weird things would happen. And I went there as an investigation, and we found out that there was a man down the street who the person that lived in that house was a doctor, and he used to do some unethical things to people in their house, and worked with, I think it was the mob of some kind. So it was some weird. In the basement, there was someone, a couple people were killed.
It's so interesting, James, that you say that because I know that area very well, and and I've worked with a lot of folks in that area, lived in
Yep,
that area, know the area, and I think that is one of the most high trafficked ghost place ever.
totally,
I mean, it's
totally.
unbelievable. I mean,
You
I
know,
think that
the
they're
hills.
like drawn to that energy and they don't want to leave because I think they think it's real and they're going to continue to stay there. It's the damnedest
Well,
thing I've ever
I
seen.
worked with Kelly. I worked with Marion Winkowski, who was in Ohio, when I did the show Ghost Whisperer, and she was a specialist, kind of an earthbound spirits, which I'm not sure about earthbound spirits as much as she was,
Yeah.
but because I think we're the ones that are earthbound. But there are those the mindset of those spirits
Yeah.
who feel like they want to go back and stay in that environment where they used to do stuff. So we did a
Yeah.
walk around the universe a lot, and she was bringing through names of people. She didn't know some of these names. They were directors, they were old actors, they were old writers who had passed over and still wanted to be around the environment of the earthly environment of the studio.
Okay. Do you remember when we used to do a show at the studio in Hollywood? And one night, Shirley and I were in that studio in Hollywood, and somebody had a video camera, and they videoed hundreds and thousands of these orbs flying through. Uh, I mean, it was like old actors and actresses that just didn't want to leave, you
Yeah,
know. I mean,
yeah,
I got the sense of it in Hollywood.
yeah. I get that a lot when I used to work there. Yep.
So Angie Salinas, I've seen an orb come through from the front door. It was a light white. The day after, I felt energy around me and vibration so strong, it was overwhelming. I felt so much love and my tears were running. It happened twice in 1 week. Since then,
Wow.
I see orbs all the time.
Oh,
That is
great.
total love. That's amazing.
It's great, Ange. Really great. Meditate with that. Talk to them.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Where are we? Let's see. Okay, I saw a black portal in the corner of the room towards the ceiling when I was in the hospital 10 years ago. It opened up, I looked at it, and then it quickly closed up. Huh,
Interesting.
that is interesting. I don't know what that
I
is.
you know, I was again called in some cases and worked with again Marianne when I did the Ghost Whisperer, we did some places around the country, and there were times where, and again I'm a little cynical about things, but she said, "Well, there's a portal here in this wall," and we closed it. They had no trouble afterwards, but it was really interesting. Same with curses with people that have orbs that warn them, which are warnings, that there's something was wrong with their house, and it was some curse or
Really?
negative
Yeah.
energy, we say. But yeah, it's interesting. It was very interesting. So there are orbs that I guess you could say warning or are looking after us. There are all different types of orbs, probably kingdoms, probably of orbs.
Right, right. Wow. Okay, Heather Petrie Nacorico says this has reminded me a lot of memories. A stereo that started playing after my father-in-law passed. A good friend who spoke to me in a dream when she was in a coma. My
Yes, that's
daughter
true.
had It's so true. My daughter had two colored orbs come to her when she was pregnant with twins. Oh, I got such chills on that one. It is comforting to hear your validations. I'm loving this program and the two of you. Thank you. Oh,
Thank
thanks,
you,
Heather,
Heather.
for
You
sharing
really are.
that.
Wow.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
I would say, Kelly, that people that are drawn to shows that we do
Yeah.
have within them this awareness, because otherwise they wouldn't be drawn to this type of a show.
Right. So how would they set the intention for them to start seeing orbs from pictures?
Well, I would definitely send it a thoughts out, and I would do it.
Okay.
I would commit myself and to give myself like a time frame in that, before I go to sleep at 7 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night or whatever. I would do it at nighttime, and I would say you have to do it every night, maybe one night a week, twice. Set up a camera, put out the intention, and speak to spirit. Good 5 to 10 minutes beforehand. Speak to them, or during the day, speak to them. Tell them, I'm going to do this. Please help me manifest orbs, however you can do it, and I'll give you like a week to do that. And I think, and maybe if you want, take the camera in different places or inside the house or outside the house. Just see what happens. One place might be
Yeah.
easier than to use in the other place, especially a room that has a lot of activity might be easier. The outside one, really, I'm not aware of that. I mean, I've seen them in graveyards. I have around that. I've
Oh,
seen
I bet.
a lot. I mean, I could tell you photo albums of orbs I have. So many that people have sent me over the years. So
Wow.
yeah, so I just check it out any way you can. I think it's great.
Wow. So Blanca says, spirits come as apparitions as well. Virtual reality, astral projection. It's a way more than spirit orbs appearing that is usually the beginning. It's so true. It's usually the beginning.
There's more to us around us than we ever see with the
Oh
physical eyes.
my God. We'll have to do a show on astral projection too,
Yes, we
because
should.
that's a good one. Christine, thank you for the show. I've never seen an orb and now I really want to. Oh
And now
yeah.
you will, so you won't be scared.
You won't
See
be
how that works?
scared. It's amazing. So Madeline Lex says, "Hi, Maddie." She says, "Do you think there's a difference between animal soul orbs and human soul orbs?" Great question, honey.
It depends on the materialization of the material they used in creating the orb. So if it's love, I don't know. I think it's easy. I think it's love is love, but animals, of course, I think are unconditional love. But
Yeah.
it goes into once again, is it by themselves? Do they get help from it? Is it they use some of our energy? So I just know that animals in general communicate much easier than humans.
Yeah, boy, is that true. Elsie, let me see. Elsie
I have
Muriel.
an animal course coming up too in October with Samantha Curry.
Oh, you do?
So yes, and I'll let everybody know about that. It's been great. People loved her last year, so we're gonna do a course together, like a 1 day course. So that'll be on my website. Yeah.
Oh, is this coming up?
Yes, coming up in October, just as
Oh, good, good. Okay. And also I know, well, we'll do this and then I know you have a discount coming up too for
Oh, that's right. Thank you for
we
my. I
I don't want to forget that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
well,
Okay.
we're not going to forget that. So
Yeah.
Elise says some orbs can just be thoughts. I can see them coming out from the top of the head of people when they are thinking or sleeping and dreaming. Oh my gosh. I
I think
know
a
this
different.
because
I think it's a different type of energy you're
you
looking
think
at.
so?
I think
Some
that.
orbs are just spirits, but can be all forms of
I
energy.
think
Yeah.
that's different thought forms. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
I think
Is
that's what
that
thought.
kind of like bubble, bubble, bubble?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So let's talk about what
So,
you've got coming up.
JVP, okay, so the JP School of Mystical Arts, my online school, which is probably one of the, I think, a top in the world, Kelly. I
Yeah.
really do,
Oh,
as far as the
for sure.
extent
For sure.
of the courses that are
Yeah.
available to people and how the
Yeah.
connection of it all, how they get together. It's done very well. And every year I've had a 30% discount on any course, certification courses and so forth. So tonight at midnight is the end of this 30. We're doing a psychic 30% off course. It's a slash, I don't know, call it slash course, but anything is 30% off. I'm pushing the psychic courses because psychic certification course, psychic portals course, those are the ones that are really the groundbreaking preliminary ground. If you're interested in developing your psychic ability or learning about it, those are the ones. So
Well,
look
and
into
now's such a good time to do it because with Mercury in retrograde, you're going back to learn something. But also, I want everybody to know that as we get into October and then into November, the veil is thinner. The veil is thinner. So this is a great time to learn about psychic communications, anything that you're going to do
it.
metaphysically. This is the time. Mediumship.
And the code to use for the discount is psychic. Psychic 30 is a code to get 30.
Perfect.
We have to use that code. But do it tonight after this because at 12 o'clock it's over.
Yeah,
And then that's that.
that's
Thanks.
gonna. It's the
'Cause I would
greatest.
remember.
It's the
It's good. That's
greatest
very well
teacher of
for everyone.
all.
I love it. People, that gets the word around the world too, which is really why I'm doing it. So
Yeah,
I
which is
love
so
it.
great.
And the
Um,
lifestyle courses. So,
wow. Okay, so let's see. We're getting a lot of people are loving this. Joanne says my sister-in-law left a video camera going taking film of her dog, and she was wondering why the dog was looking all around the room. And when she looked at the video, there was a blue orb making circles all around her. Oh, thank you
yeah.
for that.
How often do animals look around? They see a lot more than we do as humans, because the
Yeah,
spectrum is larger for them.
that's
Of course.
so true. Oh my gosh. So
We're getting to the
Angie,
end of the show here, huh?
I know. Oh, this is a good question. Susan McCormick says, "What does it mean when I am continually smelling
I'm
pipe
reading the exact
tobacco?"
questions you are. It's so weird. There's so many questions here in your comments. And I'm reading the exact one you
We're always like this. I can't explain it. Do you
Well,
want to answer
they
that?
they can come through in all different smells. I met someone the other day who specialized in smells. Again, her Claire was a smell Claire,
Wow.
and they come back if they were known to smoke cigars,
Yeah.
cigarettes, and pipes. They'll come back with their favorite perfumes. You smell a lot. The other day, I was sitting somewhere and all I smelled was cigarette smoke over and over again. I'm like, what is going on here? So it does happen. They can open up that way to
Yeah.
us.
Oh, that's so nice. Um, okay, everybody's sending love and light.
Thank
Sin
you,
Watt
everybody.
said I had a huge pink orb around me last year in my room, and I have it on video. And she said it was my deceased daughter. Oh, for
Oh, honey,
sure, for sure. Oh, I love it when they come in pink like that. Isn't that just amazing?
it's so incredible. It always
Shauna
is.
says I smell my grandmother's perfume sometimes. Oh, I love that, Shauna. I do too, and I love that one.
Yeah, I smell my grandmother's old kitchen.
The
And I
old
used to have
kitchen.
an apartment in Jackson Heights, New York, and we used to take a little cup of dimes. She used to collect dimes
Yeah.
to help people. In those days, they had parking meters, and people needed dimes to park. And she had a window outside the street, and she'd give them the dimes. They needed extra dimes. She always had a cup of dimes. And every time I'd visit her, I'd go visit and count how many dimes she had. And I always just smell the apartment, the kitchen.
Oh.
I get that and know she's around.
Yeah. So Linda Battersby Carlucci says, would you have experienced other signs from spirit before orbs begin appearing?
You could very easily.
Sure.
Why not? Certainly could. You might not recognize it, but you could. Probably it
Yeah.
happens, but you don't recognize it.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. Everybody, I'd like everybody when you start finding these orbs, when you start taking pictures and
Send
seeing
them in.
them, send them in to us on both sides now on the Facebook page, both sides now and beyond on the Facebook page. It'd be really fun to see them all because wait till you see. Spirit loves this kind of thing.
True. Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks, Renee. And thanks,
Thanks,
Kelly.
Renee. Thanks,
Great
James. And
top.
thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
The James and Kelly Show.